What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to Mose Knows. I am your host, Mose. Today, we tackle another episode of NFL Draft Grades. Told you last week that this week we'd be taking a trip to the dirty South. In this episode, we're going to be focused on the teams in the AFC South division. That's right. Those Jaguars, the Titans, the Colts, the Texans. We're going to take a look at the draft picks, and we're going to hand them a grade. Professor Mose is ready. I'm in my summer attire. If I was a college professor showing up with the tank and the backwards hat, you see my Apple Pencil on deck just in case I got to diagram some things and mark some stuff out. You know, we ready to go. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right in. We're going to start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Easy. Number 1 overall pick. They take Trevor Lawrence. That's a no-brainer. There's a lot of, rhetoric going around that, hey, Urban Meyer's from Ohio State. He might, throw a curveball. A Clayton Kershaw curveball and try to go after his Ohio State guy in Justin Fields. Not happening. And I love Justin Fields. But Urban Meyer didn't get selected as the head coach of the Jaguars to come in and make what would have arguably been one of the biggest mistakes for a new head coach. You got the number 1 overall pick. A guy like Trevor Lawrence is on the board. Most people said he's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. You take him. That's a no-brainer. They had another first-round draft pick, a pick that they acquired from the Rams in the Jalen Ramsey trade, and they take Trevor Lawrence's teammate from Clemson, Travis Etienne. I thought that was absolutely amazing. You saw that throughout the first round a lot. Even throughout some of the other rounds, you saw college teammates, joining together with their NFL teams. I thought that was absolutely amazing for those two to be selected in the first round by the same team. Great story for the two of them. At the top of the second round, the Jags take Tyson Campbell, cornerback out of Georgia. In the second round again, pick 45, they take Walker Little, tackle out of Stanford. Round 3, they take Andre Cisco, safety out of Syracuse. Round 4, they take Jay Tufele, defensive tackle out of USC. Again in round 4, they take Jordan Smith, defensive end out of UAB. In round 5, they take tight end Luke Farrell out of Ohio State. And in round 6, they take wide receiver Jalen Camp out of Georgia Tech. So we already know Trevor Lawrence, outstanding pick. I think the selection of Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne together is a dynamite first round. I think Travis Etienne is one of those special backs. I think in the NFL, he'll have much success. I think you'll see him being used in a similar fashion as somebody like an Alvin Kamara from the Saints. And I think him coming into a situation with his quarterback, they already know each other's tendencies. They already have a very, very good chemistry with each other. Now you bring them into an NFL system where they can learn together. They can piggyback and bounce ideas off of each other and learn and grow together. I think that's absolutely amazing. I think this helps Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he needed much help to assimilate to the NFL level, but I think this only helps him because now you have comfort in knowing, the running back behind you is your guy. You have familiarity with the handoff. You know where he likes the ball placed. So there should be very little fumbles when we talk about the exchange from quarterback to running back. If you need somebody to check down to, if your receivers are covered, nobody's open, you have comfort in knowing that if I check down to Travis Etienne, I know he's going to catch it. I know he's going to pick up solid yards on first or second down to make the next down not as strenuous. I think it's a beautiful combination to take both of those guys. It's only going to help with both of their growths. And that's just amazing to have those two teammates, reunited at the NFL level. Top of the second round, they take Tyson Campbell, awesome corner out of Georgia. I love his length, long arms, great feet. I believe we had, I know we had Eric Crocker on the show last week, either last week or the week before. I'm losing track of time. But Croc was able to let us know that Tyson Campbell was one of those corners that he saw just had patient feet. It's really, really important for a corner to have patient feet, because a wide receiver is going to try to pitter patter his footsteps and, try to find ways to, juke you out of your shoes and to get you guessing and thinking that he's going to go one way before he breaks another. With patient feet, you kind of stand back, you allow the receiver to make his move, but that doesn't dictate what you do. And then you're able to make a play on the ball and be decisive in where you go. I think this is a great addition to this defense. You put him opposite CJ Henderson. Now you got two young, long, rangy corners who have the speed to play deep, but they also, can cover intermediate routes. Both are not afraid to tackle. So I think that's a great pick. Walker Little, again in the second round, he slides in and figures to be a starter at either left or right tackle. More than likely it'll be right tackle for this Jaguars team, but he slides right in and he's able to play right away. I think that's an awesome pick. Third round, Andre Cisco. I think this is a great pick. Obviously, Andre Cisco, he suffered some injuries that kind of hurt his draft stock. But if he can come back 100% healthy, I think he is a game changer in this particular defense. They have the pieces up front. They have the pieces at the linebacker position. They just solidified corner with Tyson Campbell next to CJ Henderson. And now you put a guy as versatile as Andre Cisco on that back end who can cover the deep third if he needs to, who can play too high if he needs to, who can drop down in the box if he needs to. Sometimes you may even see him lined up in the slot over the nickel. In the nickel over the slot, excuse me. And he's just so versatile that he adds so much to this defense. I like the Jay Tufele pick, just a rotational piece on that defensive line. Same thing with Jordan Smith. He's going to be rotational on that defensive line. I love the Luke Farrell pick, late round pick at tight end. He's going to come in. He's going to be able to block, but also he's a good route runner and has strong hands, so he can make catches for you. I feel bad for him because, the attention is taken off of him with the Jags signing Tim Tebow to play tight end, whatever. But that could be a good thing. If eyes are on Tebow at this tight end position, Luke Farrell can come in, get locked in, head down, and just go to work. He doesn't have to focus on fighting for the starting job publicly. He can do that privately within himself, grinding, learning the playbook, building chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, going out to practice and improving every day, because the focal point won't be on him. It'll be on Tim Tebow. And I think that could benefit Luke Farrell. And, he could move into that third or even second roster spot from a tight end perspective. All in all, I gave the Jags draft an A. This was an amazing draft. You get Trevor Lawrence, which we knew was going to happen. You're able to get his teammate Travis Etienne. Tyson Campbell and Walker Little are starters. So is Andre Cisco if he's healthy. You have rotational pieces on your defensive line in the fourth round, and then you add you add a comparable tight end in Luke Farrell, who can come in and provide stability and from the tight end perspective as a blocker and as a pass catcher. A draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's move over to the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee had one of my favorite picks in this draft. Starting round one, number 22, they take Caleb Farley. I think this is an amazing draft pick. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is a feel-good story for the player. Caleb Farley was easily the top 1 or 2 corner in this class because he, opted to sit out of the 2020 season because of COVID-19, and then also had issues that came up with surrounding a back injury that hurt his draft stock. And a lot of people had him falling out of the first round completely. Tennessee took a chance on the potential of this young player. I think he's going to a team with the perfect defensive scheme for him. And I'm just so happy for the player. You work so hard, everything that goes into getting ready to play in the NFL. He's put the work in. He's a great player. He's also a great person. You see that from interviews and posts on his social media that he puts out. And to see him have his dream realized and still go in the first round, I think it's absolutely amazing for the kid. Round 2, they beef up the offensive line by selecting Dylan Radins, offensive tackle out of North Dakota State. 2 picks in round 3. The first is Monte Rice, linebacker out of Georgia. The second is Elijah Molden, corner out of Washington. Round 4, they take Rashad Weaver, defensive end out of Pittsburgh. And then 2 picks in round 6, Racey McMath, wide receiver out of LSU. And then Brady Breeze, safety out of Oregon. Dylan Radins is going to come in and be a starter on that offensive line right away. Monte Rice is going to come in and he's going to be a rotational piece within that linebacker group. He does have the ability to work and to grind, to crack that starting lineup. I think if he can, I think that just makes that linebacker group even that much better. Elijah Molden is listed as a corner. He can play corner. He also has versatility and he can play safety for you. So I think Coach Vrabel is going to find ways to effectively use Elijah Molden in all types of ways in that defense. Absolutely amazing. Then they get Rashad Weaver, defensive end out of Pittsburgh. I saw Rashad Weaver going as high as second round in some mock drafts, and he fell to them in the 4th round. I think that's a gift. They get another rotational pass rusher for that team. You add Bud Dupree in free agency, and then you get a young guy like Rashad Weaver, and now you can just make sure that pass rush rotation is strong throughout the game, keep those guys fresh, tire out the offensive line, and attack the quarterback. Racey McMath is going to, figure in as a rotational piece in the wide receiver room. May he make the 53-man roster? Not too sure about that. Same with Brady Breeze. If either of these two do make the 53-man roster, it's going to be because of special teams. They provide value in special teams. I think Brady Breeze a little bit more than Racey McMath just because of the fact that he can tackle. But if they do make the 53-man roster, it'll be because of special teams capabilities. All in all, love this draft. I gave the Tennessee Titans a B. I did. I gave them a B. Now that I'm looking at it and going over it, I feel like I should have gave them a higher grade and maybe a B plus. You know what? I'm the professor. I can change grades on the fly if I want to. I could admit that, maybe I looked at something wrong and I liked the way the student broke it down and showed his understanding of the concept. So we're going to upgrade that B to a B plus. I love the Caleb Farley pick. I love the Dylan Radins pick. I love Monte Rice. Elijah Molden offers you versatility. Rashad Weaver is a rotational pass rusher. And then you got 2 guys who could possibly, make your team, and provide value in special teams. I'm going B plus. I'm upgrading my B to a B plus. I love what the Titans did, and we're going to upgrade it just like that. Moving over to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, here's a draft that I really wasn't a fan of. I love the first pick. Well, let me make sure I don't lose my pencil. I love the first pick. First round, pick 21. You take Kwity Paye. You put Kwity Paye on that defensive line next to DeForest Buckner. It's going to be a problem. Colts defense was already good. Adding Kwity Paye, I think, makes you better. So I love that pick. Round 2, Deo Odayingbo. I understand. You need another defensive end. You need another rotational pass rusher, somebody who probably can move up and down the defensive line at all particular spots. So he has versatility. But I think with other needs on the team, I wouldn't have gone defensive end back to back, especially after getting Kwity Paye. We got Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye, got mocked as high as 10, 11. I know a lot of people had him going to the Giants. I think at one point I had him mocked to the Giants, in that, top 10, top 15 range. So you get a guy like Kwity Paye to fall to you at 21. That's solid. And I don't think you need to attack the defensive end position again. They didn't have a 3rd round pick. So in the 4th round, they take Kylan Granson, tight end out of SMU. Round 5, they take Sean Davis, safety out of Florida. Round 6, they take Sam Ehlinger, quarterback out of Texas. And then they wrap up the draft with 2 7th-round picks, the first being Mike Strahan, wide receiver out of Charleston, and then Will Fries, offensive tackle out of Penn State. Not excited about this draft at all. Not a fan of the Kyle Granson pick at tight end. I felt like there were some other tight ends that, could have been selected before him. Obviously, everyone's draft board is different. But what I saw from Kyle Granson, wouldn't warrant a 4th round selection of him. I do like the Sean Davis pick from Florida. I know they need to, replace some talent in that safety spot. I think 5th round was the sweet spot for Sean Davis, anywhere between 4 and 6, and he went in 5th. So I think that's good. I wasn't high on Sam Ehlinger. I know you need, backup quarterbacks in this league. You need guys, who are 2nd and 3rd string. You need guys for camp. Sometimes you need camp arms. But I wouldn't have went Sam Ehlinger here in the 6th. Maybe try to go for him in the 7th round, or another quarterback in the 7th round. But I wouldn't have went there. And then Mike Strahan and Will Fries don't really move the needle from a backup standpoint or a depth standpoint. Are they going to be able to provide assistance on special teams? Maybe Strahan, but Will Fries, no. Do you see Will Fries being a rotational or a swing tackle on your offensive line? Possibly, but not selected in the 7th round at 248. This draft, to me, it didn't feel like it addressed all the needs. I probably would have went tackle with that 2nd round pick. A lot of mock drafts, including my own, had them going tackle with their 1st round pick. They need to replace Anthony Costanzo, who retired. So I had them going tackle there. Maybe a Tevin Jenkins or a Jalen Mayfield or a Liam Eichenberg. But Kwity Paye was on the board, so I can understand, you going after Kwity Paye and then maybe addressing offensive line in the 2nd round. And I think they could have done that had they not went defensive end. I would have attacked offensive tackle, definitely with that 2nd round pick if Kwity Paye was my 1st round pick. So all in all, I give this draft for the Colts a C. I felt like they could have addressed other needs earlier. And then some of the other selections that they had besides Sean Davis didn't really move the needle for me. And I don't think they got better either from a starter perspective or from a depth perspective. So I gave them a C. And the last team in this AFC South division is the Houston Texans. Listen, I understand Deshaun Watson had, the legal issues and things of that nature. But I think before that, they had an opportunity to move on from him. He sat down with the new head coach, with the new general manager. He told them, this isn't anything personal. This is nothing against either one of you gentlemen, because you were not here. Both of you are new to this organization. So this has nothing to do with you. This is nothing personal against you. This has everything to do with the person that's running this organization. And I don't want to be here. I think at that point, you shake hands, you say, we'll do what we can to make it happen. If he doesn't want to be here, you can't force him to stay. And if you're not the cause for why he doesn't want to be here, then my thought process is, if it's not my fault and he's telling me that this is nothing personal, I completely understand that. if you don't want to be here, it sucks. But let's get people in the building who want to be here. Simple as that. Let's get people in the building who want to be here. I understand that there are things that have happened in the past. I understand that there are things organizationally that players don't like. But we're here now. We're new. Let's try to establish a new culture. Let's get players that want to be in the building here. Let's try to establish a new culture. And let's see if our culture, me as the head coach, David Culley, with our new general manager, let's see if the culture that we instill rubs off to ownership. Let's see if we do so well that ownership relinquishes some of that power and authority and allows us to do things more our way because we're winning, because we're successful, because we're improving every year. But let's do that by getting guys in the building who want to be here. Because if they want to be here, then that means they want to buy into the culture that we want to put in place. Right? The Texans had the opportunity to move on from that. They had the opportunity to get it done. And now the issues come out, and now there's the legal issues surrounding Deshaun Watson. And now a lot of teams that wanted to trade for him, they backed off. Oh, that's too much for us to deal with. I don't even want to put that on our PR staff to deal with that. But still, there were some teams who said, look, I don't care. We'll deal with the PR mess. Bring them on. And they still could have traded Deshaun Watson, got a bunch of draft picks, and would have been able to do better than what they did. So let's just dive into what they did. At number 3, this is a desperation pick, if you ask me. They drafted a quarterback with their first pick in the 3rd round because they didn't have a first or a second, because they know they need somebody. So in the 3rd round, you take Davis Mills out of Stanford. And for all intents and purposes, what you're saying to me is Davis Mills is our starter. Because I don't know who else is on the roster, but I can venture to say that they're probably not going to be as good as Davis Mills. And you take Davis Mills in the 3rd round, which is a semi-high draft pick. There have been a lot of valuable players who have been drafted in the 3rd round or later. 49ers fan right here. George Kittle was drafted in the 5th round. He's top 1 tight end in the league. I'm going to say he's the top one. Some people are going to say Travis Kelce, others say Darren Waller. It's your preference based on team and what the player can do. But even when you throw those names out there, Kittle was top 3. Some people have him 1, some people have him 2, some people have him 3. But I don't think anybody has him lower than 3. Kittle was top 3. He was drafted in the 5th round. But this is saying to me, Davis Mills might be our starting quarterback. Or if he's not going to be your starting quarterback, then you're assuming that this first year is a wash. We'll throw a veteran out there, whoever we have on the roster who has some experience in the league, and we're going to lose, and we're going to lose bad. But then that means you get the first overall pick. And usually with the first overall pick, it's a quarterback. So I don't know if this is a good thing for Davis Mills or if this is a bad thing. I would tend to say it's a bad thing, because if he starts and he's terrible because the team is terrible and they get the first overall pick and they draft a quarterback, now the whole perception is Davis Mills stinks, which I don't think you can put that on him with the situation that he's going into. They had another 3rd round pick where they selected wide receiver Nico Collins out of Michigan. Round 5, they took Brevin Jordan, tight end out of Miami. And again in round 5, they select linebacker Garrett Wallow out of TCU. And with their last pick, round 6, number 195, they select Roy Lopez, defensive end out of Arizona. Only reason why the Texans get a C are those 2 middle picks. Love Nico Collins. You definitely need him now. You traded DeAndre Hopkins a couple years ago. You let go of Will Fuller, didn't re-sign him. You don't have any receivers. You need a receiver. Nico Collins, with his size, his build, big wide receiver, I think if he can come in and grasp the offense right away, he is going to progress into this team's number one target throughout the season. With that, I love the Brevin Jordan selection. A dynamic tight end, a lot of speed, good hands, great route running. He's going to be able to stretch the field. He's going to be able to occupy the middle and occupy those seams. I think he's going to be a security blanket for whoever the quarterback is in Houston. Those 2 picks, and I like the Garrett Wallow pick. So let's say the 3 middle picks, the 2nd, 3rd round pick, and the 2 5th round picks. And we'll give credit to Davis Mills. I think Davis Mills showed throughout the lead up to the draft that he is a capable quarterback. He has the size. During his pro day, he shows he has the speed. He has the arm strength. I think you worry a little bit about his decision making at times. He can improve on his accuracy, but I think he's a solid quarterback. And going into any other situation, especially if you're drafting a quarterback for the future who's going to sit behind a veteran for a year or 2, I think that would have been a great pick for anyone else. But being that it's Houston and there's a 50-50 chance that he's the week 1 starter, I think that, to me, that sucks for the kid, because you're going into a situation that you know is not going to be a good situation. So he's going to have to make the best out of it how he can. He's going to have to lean on Nico Collins and Brevin Jordan to show some semblance of competency in that offense, moving the ball, making good throws, getting completions. That's tough. But for those 3 middle, Nico, Brevin, Garrett, only reason why the Texans get a C. I'm a strong believer that they should have moved on from Deshaun Watson well before any issues came out or arose, especially after he had a conversation with the front office and let them know that this is nothing personal. This is with the organization. I think at that point they should have moved on. From everything that I've seen and read, I don't have any indication that they were trying to move him. All of the indication that I read was that they were trying to convince him to stay and that they weren't going to acquiesce to a player demanding a trade. So I mean, that's on them. So just to recap this AFC South draft grading: Jaguars, A. Titans, I gave them a B, but Professor Mose threw a curveball in there and we upped their grade to a B+. After going through and reviewing again, we gave them a B+. So we're going to make sure we make that adjustment and give them a B+. The Colts get a C. I love Kwity Paye. After that, not a fan of anything else other than Sean Davis. And the Houston Texans should have traded Deshaun Watson, should have acquired more picks. You got a new head coach, new general manager, new regime coming in. You want to set the culture the way you want to. You only can do that by bringing in players that want to be there. Houston Texans get a C as well. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of NFL Draft Grades of the 2021 NFL Draft. Thank you so much for spending time with Mose Knows today. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know how you feel about my grades. Let me know if you agree or disagree. You can do that by dropping a comment below. You can also do that by hitting me up on all my other social media accounts: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'll link those in the description below. There will also be links to my Twitch account. There will also be links to my Anchor account and all of the streaming platforms. I'm on Spotify now. I'm on Google Podcasts now. I got to check and make sure that they got everything right with my Apple so I can be on the Apple Podcast. But all of those links will be in the description as well. Again, thank you so much for spending time with Mose Knows. You're here now. Your family. There's nothing you can do about it. So I need you to do 2 things for me. I need you to hit that subscribe button and take another 2 seconds and hit that bell icon so that you get notified every time new content drops right here at Mose Knows. The next video to come out will be dropping Thursday. We're sticking in the South, but now we move over to the NFC. Trust me, don't want to miss it. Love and appreciate all y'all, and I'll catch y'all in that episode.